I'm a little different. I was an artist. I mean, I'm technically an artist still. Once you're an artist, you're always an artist. But I started out as, I would call a maker, doing craft fairs like the Strawberry Swing. And when the woman who founded the Strawberry Swing in 2011 moved to Denver, Colorado, she said, Katie, you should take this over. I'm leaving, I can't do it anymore. And I said, oh, well, if I do, I'm gonna make it really, really, really big and hopefully make your dream come true. So at the time, there were only about 30 makers taking part in the fair, and I'd say maybe 200 people came. And this is 2 years ago. I had more than 17,000 people come to my event at Union Station last year, and that's our holiday swing. So in about 5 years, I've grown it from about 200 people coming to 17,000. So I found that I am more a megaphone for artists and makers now. I am still one, but I want to grow artists like you and everyone else. And in doing the Strawberry Swing, I've found so many creative entrepreneurs can make a living doing this in Kansas City. And obviously, I love craft fairs, and art fairs are a little different. Like fine art does okay at my shows, but ours is more, you know, I mean, the clay and the ceramics is considered fine art, but paintings, you know, would probably do better at Plaza Art Fair or Brookside Art Fair. Ours is more price tag of 100 and below. So I'm helping entrepreneurs that make soap, that make prints, that make glass, that make all kinds. Is that me? No. So I've watched more than 1,000 makers come through and take part in mine, and they've made from, oh geez, $600 to $18,000 at my events. And I was, a friend now, business partner, came to me. She'd seen all of this growth and been coming to the swing, and she lives behind 31st and Troost. She lives at about 34th and Troost. And she said, Katie, there are some buildings here that are empty and that we could possibly bring together artists and entrepreneurs like you and help the community. And together I co-founded Troost Market Collective with her. And I just kind of want to tell you a little bit about the brief history of Troost. So this mural is great to talk about the brief history of it. If you don't know it, it started as Osage Indian Trail neighborhood. There were Indians, Native American land, and then of course the white man came and settled, and Benoist Troost, who Troost is named after, was a Dutch doctor. He was the first surgeon in Kansas City. That is what Troost is named after. Ironically, Troost means comfort in Dutch, and we don't see Troost as a very comfortable place right now. And we're hoping that by bringing all this to light, we can bring it back to what it was, which is a wonderful place where there were small businesses. Walt Disney is on there because his first studio is literally right next to this corner. And there was a thriving immigrant-owned businesses. People lived all around, and when the all-white Kansas City school boards tried to circumvent Brown versus Board of Education, they made Troost the boundary that split our schools, J.C. Nichols, so on and so forth. So me as a white woman am trying to use my white privilege to help the people that live east of Troost, people that are low income, that maybe have a barrier to be part of my festival, the Strawberry Swing, or can't afford to be in a studio. We want to be able to get entrepreneurs that have a barrier, a major barrier, into a place where they can start creating and making. And we want them to do it alongside of people who don't have that barrier, so they have mentors. So this is the Firestone building, back in its prime. This is it now. Inside you can see it has just been completely neglected. It is a really horrible, sad thing. This is where we would love to have our nonprofit, the Troost Market Collective, which will house artists and entrepreneurs from both east and west of Troost. We will have free studios and residencies for artists that have income that need a residency, and then we'll have paying members for artists who are already established. And you can see water just leaking in. It's even worse than that. Those are just a few pictures. It goes on and on. So this is a rendering we did a few years ago of what it could potentially look like, and we were hoping to cover that. This is the garage. We call that the canopy. We want to be able to have farmers markets and makers fairs under there, and we've already kind of done that on the street with a Troostapalooza Fest is something we've done, and it was so, this year it rained unfortunately, but we had 10,000 people interested on the Facebook event, which is huge. Last year we think about 4,000 people came, and we want to be able to do that every weekend there with artists and have people making money. People, the vendors that were at Troost last year made $18,000 total, about maybe 20 on that street. And what we need, I'll go back to that one, is an executive director from the community. So to stay true to the mission, which is to create equitable economic opportunity, myself and my partner are both white women. We need a person of color from the community that we can hire as an executive director, and to do that, we need funding to pay that executive director. So right now, my partner and I, Chrissy Dastrup, have done all of this on our own, of course unpaid, and we are at the point now where we have all of our ducks in a row. We just need the paperwork to look perfect so that we can approach people like the Kaufmans and show them that this is so important to build this entrepreneurial ecosystem on Troost. It can be done, and it can have, so many people can thrive and have jobs, because I've seen it happen right in front of my eyes in a small time period, and I know that we can do it. This is a mural project that we did on the front of the buildings with the artists in the community, and kind of to show what we want to do. We have someone who's never done a mural next to someone who's been paid and makes a living doing murals, and the whole street is lined with those murals right now. So my needs, an executive director from the community where the nonprofit is located, and funding to pay that person. My challenge is looking for someone familiar with both nonprofits and the artist maker movement, and need help getting all the documents into a pretty package. And so my goal is to become funded so we can hire the executive director and to find that executive director from the community.
Perfect, thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. It's a lot of info to put in 6 minutes. I have a big ask.
Okay, you have a question here?
Yes.
Hey, I love what you're trying to do. This is a fabulous idea.
Thank you.
And your track record of building up this strongest strength is going to inspire me. So I hope you can find a way to get what you need
Thank you.
for your country to take this and to get it off the ground. Do you have a business plan yet for the Troost market project?
So we have a bunch of documents, including a business plan and the technical terms is more my partner Chrissy, but pro forma, one of the terms that I now know, all kinds of different forms. But we need someone that either will help us at no cost or at a low cost to put them all in a beautiful package. We have all the data and the documents. We just need them. We need someone to spend a lot of time to get it where it's understandable for other people to see, because we know it like the back of our hand, but other people it's harder to see the big scale, because not only do we need the space, we're going to purchase collective equipment for them to use, so that barrier is really lifted. If someone wants to make t-shirts, we'll have the screen printing equipment in there, and that's where it helps to have the mentors of someone who already knows how to use it, teaching someone who's new and has never used it before. So we have a lot of aspects of that. We need someone to put it in a pretty package for us.
I'm not sure you need a pretty package, but I mean, having the raw materials, but I mean, you definitely need some advice and some coaching, I think. But the marketing of it, I think, is less important than having the solid business plan. And it makes there people who have the resources to support you, I think, will see it. And have you approached the Kaufman Foundation yet? Have you talked to
No.
anybody with it?
We have not. Well, my partner may have spoken to someone, but we haven't presented or given them documents yet.
Because they actually have people who can help provide you with some advice about putting it into a format that's a business plan. So instead of approaching them for funding, I encourage you to think about a resources or programs that they have for that. And so by starting at that more introductory level, instead of going straight to asking for funding, you ask for advice first. You have the opportunity for them to then say, oh, well, yeah, sure, we can help you this way or that way, put you in touch with somebody. So it becomes a more organic process. And through that, you build familiarity with the funder. So it gets to the point where you're ready for the funding. They already know you.
Thank you.
Yeah, we were funded by the Kaufman Foundation, but they, Paul, and a couple of other art leaders were part of a brainstorming group that we had. And so they helped us lay a foundation before we actually even launched. And two, to put it in a pretty package, if you were going after a grant from them, they have their own format. They want to see a pretty package. They want details. And so, and they'll ask you what kind of details they want. And they're significant. It's a very involved process of all the projects we've gone after. Francis Foundation is a little bit lower fruit to hang from the tree. But again, we've got 25,000 from Kaufman, we've got 3,000 our first year from Francis Foundation. And if you go after Kaufman, they're project oriented, so you want to do it like a 3-year project,
Right.
and fund it that way. I wish we had done that instead of just doing 1 year. So you really need to, but it really, and we went there for another ask, and we didn't have that relationship left.
Yeah.
So it's you really do have to have that relationship. Casey Sourcing is a good way to start building that business plan because they're well funded by the Kaufman ever since they found it.
They're ironically one of my sponsors, so
Yeah.
they sponsor me
So
for the swing. So they
Yeah.
like me to get the word out about them to other people,
yeah.
ironically.
So getting insights from them will help you on your business, will help you then later approach the Kaufman. So, questions? Who's your contact at Casey Sourcing?
I work with all of them. I'm on Global Entrepreneurship Week. I'm in charge of the maker track, so I work with them very closely. But I guess I just assume they have for-profits.
No, I think that, you're representing a collective of individuals, each of them is a small business.
Right.
So, in terms of a grassroots small business, incubator, a movement that's encouraging at a large scale, lots of people have become more financially successful as small businesses, and you're doing very much what they'd be interested in doing.
Yeah.
And if Maria is still there, isn't she?
Yes, she is. I work with Maria, and
I would ask her an hour of each time to kind of talk to her about what you're doing and where you are and give her advice.
yeah, that's a good idea. I always see them as when they sponsor us, they want to give out the Research Rail Roadmap, which shows you, they're more of a connector, right? Like what you're saying, connect me with someone else that can help on the stage of this business.
There are state and local resources who are very eager to invest in women and people of color and encourage them to start small businesses. And they would, they can tap into funding that arts grant programs can't really touch.
That's a good idea.
There's been a rating out in Missouri is one of the last states as far as people of color for entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
In entrepreneurship, and Kansas City is only last. As far as cities, Kansas City is only last to St. Louis.
Wow.
So there's 2 right now that you see in the city of Kansas have 2 diversity entrepreneurship groups going through their program. They developed new programs and got national funding for those programs. And I'm sure they would be actually, there's organizations out there looking to help, hopefully not have that gap anymore. And again, it's not be one of the bottoms in entrepreneurship when it comes to diversity. So so it's a hot topic, and it's probably a good topic to start talking to some people seriously about the nonprofit work. And Casey Sourcing, we're a partner of them, but we've also used them for resource for counseling as well, being a nonprofit, we're a partner of them.
Really?
And
That
they
helped. Good. That's good to know.
And they do have a coach who does one-on-one counseling. He's a part-time performing artist as well. And
Cool.
okay.
Fantastic work.
Thank you.
This may be totally premature, but as you were speaking about needing an executive director, a woman popped into my mind.
Okay.
Her name is Dr. Auburn Ellis.
Oh, yeah.
You know Auburn?
I feel like I might have
She
heard of
owns
her.
and co-owns Studio 5400 at 54th and Troost.
Right.
which
And
is
equal-minded cafes, right?
Yeah, it's a gallery and yoga studio. She has her doctorate in education. I think.
Wow.
And she's a yoga teacher, just an incredible woman.
Okay, I'm going to reach out to
Yeah,
her.
definitely. So I
Thank
can see
you.
that she would be all over that.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Thank you. The thing is, it's a 40-hour-a-week job, so my partner and I, Christy, we both have other full-time jobs, so that's why it's a little hard for both of us right now because we have so much else going on, as well as a new business I just formed called Craft Show CEO. If anyone in here is interested in making a living doing craft shows or know someone that is, they would probably want to look us up. We're going to give advice, me and Carly Ray, who's in the front row, who's a professional artist. We are going to be, we already have been doing some free videos to give people advice on how to be really successful at craft shows and make $18,000 in one day at Union Station. Yes?
So how do you make money off of a craft?
Wow.
Strawberry swing, do they pay a percentage?
Oh, how do I personally make the money? Yes. And they just pay a booth fee, and then I put the whole show on with all the booth fees, and I get sponsors, but they don't have to pay me a percentage. They just pay, everyone pays the same booth fee.
And is there a selection process?
Yes, there's a jury. And so we just juried the holiday swing, the one you saw up there is, and this is one of the hardest parts of my job because we have to tell more than 100 people no, and that's the worst to have to do because there's so many wonderful artists that I would love to be in the show, but there's only room in that grand hall for more than 125 booths, and we have to have sponsors booths too because that's how we make our booth fee lower than like Junior League Holiday booth fee is like $2,000 for some people. Ours is $400, which is the highest I would ever have it be.
And how many events do you have in there?
I have 4 large ones, one each season, and then I pop up occasionally at different places. So by pop up, like I'll do a pop up in Lawrence. I popped up in Wichita. I'm trying to control my pop-ups and not do as many. But I have some problems saying no at times, so I always want to give people an opportunity to show their work, so it's hard to say no when I'm approached to do a pop-up somewhere. Hopefully at Troost Market, when it's up and running, it will just be kind of like a permanent pop-up for everyone. Yes.
Back to your neighbors, when you're
Yes.
And there was a question over here.
I'm just curious if you acquired the Firestone building already.
So that is another great question. We cannot acquire anything unless we're funded. So we have LOIs on the building, and someone who I work very closely with has just acquired the Firestone building, and it is at least 2 years out from any type of renovation. So we would probably want to go on the west side of the street. We work very closely with the developer that just finally white boxed one of the buildings on the west side where our mural, community mural project was. It's called, we call it the Mid-K building, but I don't know the exact address off the top of my head. They just white boxed it, and of course it's going for an egregious amount per square foot. And so I personally, as Strawberry Swing, could rent it tomorrow, fill it, and then use the money we've raised from Troost to pay for the people from the community to be in there as artists. Troost Market could pay Swing for their rent, but then that's me taking that. Then I don't have an executive. I have to physically run it myself, and so that's why we need to do this quickly, because someone else will come in and take these buildings. There's going to be people who will want these buildings for other things that aren't equitable for the community. So, and they're coming from out of town, and I know very well who they are and what they want. So it's not stuff that's going to be equitable. It's stuff that's going to be beautiful and great for people who aren't low income, but there's kind of we need to do it quickly.
So you're saying, when you say white box, what does that mean?
White box means it is up to code and has plumbing and stuff, but no extra. So it's literally a white box. So there would be no dividing, no extras. For instance, if we needed there's just little extra, well, we have that in our business plan, allotting for that, but it just increases the rent more and more if we're not owning the building. So for instance, if we had, I'm just gonna go off the top of my head, let's say we had a candle maker in there who needed an industrial sink, and also, what else do they need? And maybe I should use a ceramicist. Let's say it's a kiln that has to have a certain voltage, we'd have to build out a little area for them with ventilation. So white box would be better for, like, in the condition, if I rented it tomorrow as a white box, I would want it just for people who wanted to only like paint or not use anything that would need fumigation or lots of voltage or big sinks or a washer and dryer if it's a fabric artist, all those extra things add up. And right now it's there's a first floor and a second floor that are renovated and white boxed right now, and there's 6,000 square feet on the top and 6,000 square feet on the bottom, and I think that it is like $20 a square foot. So minimum with nothing else, I would need $5,000 a month for the top and $5,000 a month for the bottom if I wanted both floors. Minimum. I mean, that's like with no insurance, with no electrical. That's just covering the rent. So it's a big endeavor.
We have time for one more question. Who are you looking? Do you have possible executive directors that you're already considering since you've worked?
Well, so originally my partner and I were going to be the directors and split the duties, so we were working towards that, but then we realized the more we got involved in racial justice that is not, we could be the executive. She was going to be director of development and I was going to be director of programming. But to stay true to our mission and vision, we, as two white women, should not get paid. So we put ourselves on the board. So the whole time we've been working, originally we did think we would be the directors and look for funding for what we've been working on already and finish it all and then hire more people in. But now we just want to start from scratch and hire people that can do what we were doing. So we're on the board. Along with our other board members. We're also looking for board members, if anyone knows board members.
And then have you worked with, the Cohen's, several organizations, several real estate companies have been partnering with the arts. Have you tried to make connections with them?
No, I don't know them.
For instance, Charlotte Street.
Well, Charlotte Street just announced their new thing like ours.
They were using borrowed space. And a lot of them were borrowed space from real estate developers, especially downtown and that second floor, fourth floor. Anyway, but that was a borrowed space from a real estate developer.
No.
And then maybe there's someone, a building or a real estate developer like the Stockyards that would be willing to rent a whole floor to you where there's already office space. I know there's people who, there's co-working space kind of on the edges of the area you're looking at, both downtown and.
Yeah, well, I could open one tomorrow on Main Street by myself. It's just, we're trying to do it on that block, that historic block. So, I mean, it has to be there. It has to be there. You know what I'm saying? To follow our mission, it's gotta be there.
So are there any last, anything you want to reinforce, we as a community can help you with?
Yes, email, there, we've made a little list back there. If you can put your name on the email list and grab my card, I think I only brought 7 cards, but they're back there. And you can also look at this and follow me and write it down or take a picture of it with your phone. And if you can help us in any way, I would love an email to Troost Market. And come to the Strawberry Swing if you've never been. It's super fun and you can support all of the makers. We have more than 300 apply for the holiday event and accepted 125, so they're amazing. All of the ones that'll be there.
So you got rained out for.
Troostapalooza did. Sadly.
I know, it was very sad.
Well,
Do you think it will pop up in the Troost or would it be just too crazy?
so I would love to, we started it because we knew there was a need for something really awesome to bring the whole community together. And since all the buildings are literally, you could die. I mean, you saw what it looked like. We can't go in there and we can't really even go under that canopy. So we wanted to do it on the street where some development has already been made, and we partnered with the owners of Wonderlust. I would love to do it again in May and help Troost Fest, or just do it on the block where we're supposed to be, but there's been a little bit of, I mean, this is a very, the area just has a lot of conflict. And it's hard when you're new and younger than the people who have been there throwing something else for a really long time. We don't want to step on anyone's toes. We would love to help because we know how to make a really awesome community festival for free. But we don't want to step on anyone's toes. So they already have a festival in May that I've been begging to help with. We'll see, hopefully they'll let me.
Well, great. Well, thank you, Kate, for your time.
Thank you.
We appreciate it.
Thank you so much for listening.